Hello, welcome to my take on. I know I've been away for a while. Couldn't think of anything really good to make a message on. Although I did consider the topic of aliens, but for Halloween. Well, before Halloween. I don't really care about Halloween myself. Just a dress-up holiday. Nobody should take it very seriously, really. Well, my take on this time is about why I feel like you should be ashamed of getting an abortion if you messed around before marriage, or you just slept, or you sleep with multiple partners. Okay, that's already irresponsible behavior, for one thing. And another thing, you shouldn't cap it off by deciding, oh, it's inconvenient for me to have a child, so I'll just go get an abortion. It's like, you need to think about that a little more, other than, oh, well, I can just go get this done. It's like, no, pretty much it's not right when you decide that, okay? But I'm in the middle of the road on this topic because I don't believe that in cases of rape or incest you should force that decision on people that they have to be pro-life. Or if it's like an ectopic pregnancy, that they should go through with it. And I went to the site Bible Reasons and to get some Bible verses ideas, even though I don't agree with their website. So anyway, I'll skip over the part that I'm not in complete agreement with, because it depends on how you interpret it. Alright, haven't found the Bible verses I'm looking for yet. Well, this is proving that they don't believe it's a blob of tissue. Luke 1:44. As soon as the sound of your greeting reached my ears, the baby in my womb leapt for joy. And Psalm 51:5, surely I was sinful at birth, sinful from the time my mother conceived me, which proves that they're more of a being than a tissue blob. Okay. And now I'll look down the page for some more. Oh, here's Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. That might be referring to Jeremiah himself, but that can be applied to everybody. Luke 1:15. For he will be great in the sight of the Lord. He is never to take wine or other fermented drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit even before he is born. I think that's to do with John the Baptist, but you see that it's before they're born, okay? And then Psalm 139:16, you saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Job 31:15, did not he who made me in the womb make him, and the same one fashion us in the womb? And then Genesis 25:21 through 22. And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah his wife conceived. The children struggled together within her, and she said, if it is thus, why is this happening to me? So she went to inquire of the Lord. Okay, that would be it. So those are all the verses we have. Now, like I said, what I think is wrong is when you do something that you know is wrong. If you're a Christian, I don't know if anybody outside the faith knows that it's wrong, but when you do that, you should be ashamed of yourself because you're pretty much taking a potential life, you know? I mean, why I say potential is because sometimes there are problems that it self-aborts and it doesn't go through with the pregnancy and other things. But why I'm not on their side is because, well, if you want a person to die from their pregnancy or maybe even, do something bad to themselves, can keep on, pushing, that they have to go through with it even though it's not even a pregnancy that'll work out, or they might try to, well, force people into a choice otherwise, but you gotta understand, you can't just tell people that they have to do something and just expect them to take it and like it. That's what the problem is with some of their approaches, is they think that person doesn't need time to think about it. Okay, and what I find wrong about abortion-only clinics, they like to focus on all the benefits. They don't always think about what it might do to them mentally. They might have nightmares about what the child might have become. They don't say that it could result in problems actually doing the procedure. Because there was a story of a woman, well, I heard the story because they were chatting and they were saying, it's like betrayal and everything. But their boyfriend forced them to get an abortion because they didn't, some odder thing that they didn't want people to know that they had already slept together before marriage. She got the abortion and lost her entire uterus because of it. And then that boyfriend didn't want to marry her because she couldn't have kids. Well, which is a bad boyfriend, but still, it's showing that men are also not always responsible for what they've done. So they shouldn't be the authority on this because they don't always care about what they've done. Okay? And that's the reason why, if they're going to do that, they should have to pay some sort of compensation for it. I mean, really, if they're going to be that horrible about it. But anyway, it's like, if you lose your whole uterus, then you can't have children in the future. That's a problem. There's also a problem with these operations where it might cause them to bleed to death if they do the wrong thing. See, they shouldn't emphasize the positive. They have to go through all the negative effects, how a late-term abortion, pretty much the child is formed, so I don't think it's right. Personally, it's like, they want, for a later term, like close to the birth date, it would have to already be dead in there, and they just want to get it out. That's the only reason I'd agree with that. Or, or because you could have an optional, you could probably have a C-section and still have the child at that point. Because they've had really young, premature babies that have lived, too. So, you gotta at least give them a chance to live, That's the way I feel, because it's like, it is like taking a life, and I mean, yeah, it's still taking a life, or a potential life, no matter when it's done, except for like, if you get like some sort of drug right away before it happens, which is what you should do if you're going to be responsible for yourself. You either get the stuff that, the birth control or whatever. If you're going to, not adhere to Christian values and go sleeping around with people or sleeping around with somebody before you actually commit to them, and you get pregnant, it's pretty much your fault because you didn't have the self-control not to do that. And therefore, I believe it's better if you just go through with it and let the kid get adopted if you don't want the financial responsibility. And if you're mad about that being a financial burden to you actually going through the birth, I think there's some people who will actually sponsor your stay in the hospital in exchange for the child if they have the money. So you should probably look for that first before you decide to just end it, because it is a life. And we should not take life lightly, that we could just do that, okay? And that's my logic on the thing. I know there's some people who think that they should get out of the responsibility of that, but I don't believe so. If you make a mistake, you should make up for it, not just take the potential life. That's what I believe. Other people may believe differently. I can't make them believe what I believe. But that is how I feel on the subject. And I don't think that you should take just take a life like that. Now, I know what this was on. This was on those pro-life birthing centers or pregnancy centers. And I know that they probably, in essence, they're not being responsible either sometimes, because they don't employ regular medical people who know what they're doing sometimes. But that is no reason to just, that is no reason to sit there and blast them for everything. Because we should be talking about the pros and cons of abortion. Not just, oh, well, this is all this and bad stuff. You just need to think about it. You need to think about how it'll affect you in the future. You need to think about all the issues, not just what you see at the abortion clinic, not just what you see at the pregnancy center. You have to think of all the issues and put them together so that you can have a real decision here. And I would hope that you would choose life in most cases that aren't a bad situation, like, rape or the woman might not be able to carry it to term, or it's dead in the womb, or, it's like, there's things that you have to consider that aren't really about forcing someone to decide it. You have to let them decide to make the brave decision, and if it was the wrong decision, they'll deal with the consequences. God will take care of it. It's not for you to decide, oh, this person's bad because they considered this action. They have to think it through for themselves so it means something to them. And both sides are kind of wrong not letting them think about the whole situation. They gotta know, and they gotta understand what is bad and good about their situation. And that's it. And I mean, I know there's going to be people who disagree with me, but I believe that it's really not okay in most cases to have one, and without any information, deciding, oh, you don't want the child. Well, it's just kind of wrong, because it's like taking a life for no reason. And that's the way I feel about it. Well, thank you for listening. That ends my take on. Thank you. Bye.